Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we're going to take a little bit of a different approach to how we do some of the videos, and we're going to be doing a video on basic handgun maintenance. You know, we figured this camera angle would help just so you could kind of see a nice overview of what we're doing right here on the bench. And this video is intended for some of you that might be a little bit new to gun ownership, and maybe you don't understand what you need to do to clean your pistol. You know, the cleaning regimen for revolvers is a little bit different, so we're probably going to revisit that in a separate video at a later time. But for this video, we're going to be showing you guys basically how to take a semi-automatic handgun and go through and some of the things you want to look for cleaning. And, you know, we shoot a lot in volume, so we end up using a lot of ultrasonic cleaners and things like that because we do so much shooting. This video is really geared towards a person who wants to clean their pistol with a minimal amount of equipment on hand. Okay, so you can see here in terms of equipment, we've just got some cut up t-shirts, we've got some swabits, which are basically just big Q-tips, and you don't have to use these. You can buy just you know, big or normal Q-tips like you clean your ears if you want. We do have some commercial patches. These are available in a wide variety of different sizes, but you want some type of a patch to be able to swab your barrel out and things like that. In terms of products, there's a few other little things that are handy to have. These are Dewey cleaning rods. I picked these up through Brownells. They're excellent. They are brass, so they won't mar the finish of your gun or anything like that, or mar the barrel or anything like that. You have different accessories that can be gotten for your cleaning rods. This one is just a patch puller, a loop patch puller, and then you have cleaning brushes. As you clean a lot of different pistols and different guns, over time, you're probably going to want to just grab multiple rods. That way you can have one or two of them set up for, you know, swabbing, and a couple of them set up for brushing just to speed the process up. That's a 9mm brush on there. In terms of protecting your hands, you are dealing with lead residue, so I would recommend getting yourself some nitrile gloves, which we're going to go ahead and just put on now. Just help keep some of that residue and stuff off of your body. You know, you don't want that stuff in your system. Lead is not good, and you don't want it around you. And obviously, you're going to wash your hands after you clean your gun, right, guys? So, but the gloves kind of help speed up that process. All right, so basically for cleaning products, we've gone over this in some previous videos in terms of stuff you can use to clean your guns. One of my favorites, I like the JB products, and it may not necessarily be that big of a thing to mention here in this particular video. This is more of a rifle thing, but you can also, if you got some stubborn fouling that doesn't want to come out in a barrel, the JB products are great. The Bore Bright and the non-embedding bore cleaning compound. So basically you would clean with this, and it's kind of mildly abrasive, and you can just really polish it up nice and shiny with the Bore Bright. Those are two products that I strongly recommend. Maybe not so much for a beginner, but very useful. All right, so then you're going to have oils and solvents. Before we even get into the gun, we're just going to talk about the products. This is Hops number 9. This is a solvent, and what you would basically use number 9 for, essentially, is as a solvent to help dissolve copper, powder fouling, basically lead residue it'll do to some degree, but it's just to help loosen the fouling and get it out of the action of the gun. So that's one thing you want to look at there. But anytime you're using a solvent, you want to follow up with a good oil. So what I run here at my place, we mainly run a lot of this LPS2, which is an excellent lubricant. It's produced right here in Buford, Georgia. Great bunch of people. They do a lot of stuff for the aircraft industry and everything like that. So they are a great bunch of people to work with, and they make a good product, you know, and it's not overly expensive. And this is a type of product that can have a lot of uses around the shop as well, boating, what have you. So wide variety of different purposes you can use this for. So for your lubricating and oil purposes, LPS2 is a great product. Say you want to just wipe the whole thing down and just lubricate the gun to use later. The Geisley or ALG Defense Go Juice is excellent. This stuff is really, really great, and I strongly recommend it. It's a great product. If you want to be lazy, now I'm going to give you an out right now in case you want to go this route. I'm not going to lie, man, this break-free powder blast is excellent, excellent stuff. It makes cleaning your gun a little bit expensive, though, because you could use, you know, a good quarter of a can of this stuff, but you can basically just disassemble the gun, spray the crap out of this with the powder blast, and it will clean the crap out of the entire gun. You know, dry it out with a with some compressed air, lubricate it, and put it back together. It's really that simple, but you are going to spend some money. Okay, so powder blast is kind of a cheap way out. If you're strapped for time and you just want to clean your gun quick, this stuff is excellent, and I strongly recommend it. It's not cheap, but I do recommend it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just go through the process. The reason I've got the holster here is because I'm going to show you something with holsters. Make sure the gun's unloaded, remove the magazine. Make sure the magazine's free of ammunition. Lock the slide to the rear and visually inspect the chamber. Make sure it's empty. In this case, it is. I see it's empty. Okay. Every gun is different, guys. Okay, this is a Smith & Wesson M&P. This is a 2.0. And what I'm going to say about disassembling your gun is it really just comes down to what makes you comfortable. As you, get a little bit more advanced as a gun owner, you might want to fully disassemble your pistol down to the smallest piece. If it's a highly collectible piece that's worth a lot of money, you probably want to disassemble the whole gun and make sure you can clean every little bit of it and really inspect for corrosion and things like that. For most of us, and probably some of you that are watching this video, you're probably going to opt for just a good basic cleaning to keep the gun serviceable. Cleaning your gun is the equivalent of changing your oil in your car, okay? As guns are fired, they leave behind residue from the ammunition. Basically, when the powder burns, it leaves behind a carbon-like substance. It's basically, I guess, in a way, a plant byproduct because it's basically a nitrate. A gunpowder has nitrocellulose in it, and when it burns, it leaves behind a residue. And that residue can impede the function of your firearm. It can make it not work properly. It can definitely degrade the performance of your firearm. Much like running nasty oil in your car forever. When that oil gums up, you're going to get worse gas mileage. Your car's not going to work. You might blow your car up. You know what I mean? So guns are no different. Over time, they're going to gum up. They're going to get nasty. And because this is a type of item that you want to make sure that you can trust your life to it, you want to make sure that it's clean and will deliver the goods when you need it to. So anyway, disassemble the gun to whatever capacity you feel comfortable doing. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to do a very simple field strip, and I'm going to show you guys some just really easy ways to clean your gun. In this case, read your manual on your gun, because if you're new to guns, some of the guns are a little bit different. They're all going to have their own little kind of minor things about them in terms of how you disassemble them. But in the case of the M&P, lock the slide to the rear, rotate the takedown latch down, okay? Allow the slide to gently close, squeeze the trigger, and the slide will come right off. The guide rod and spring are captured, and all you do is just pop it out, and it stays in one assembly. You don't need to disassemble this at all. Don't ever do it. Okay, the barrel tilts right down and out of the slide. This gun's a little bit dirty. It's been shot a good bit. This was actually one of the ones that we recently reviewed. We do have a full review on the 2.0 if you want to check it out. Here with the slide, we've got an external extractor. We've got our sights, which these are Trijicon HDs that are excellent. Here you've got your slide serrations. If we invert the slide over and look at it like this, you can see you've got your striker. Now again, I could disassemble this all the way, but I'm not going to. I'm trying to give you kind of a really basic overview of just keeping your gun running. But bear in mind, if you're new to guns, eventually you are going to want to do a complete disassembly on the gun. And then that kind of becomes one of those things where, okay, maybe you need to get a gunsmith involved at that point, or maybe you feel comfortable enough to look up a tutorial on YouTube or something, take it apart yourself and clean it. You can save yourself a bunch of money by doing that. But for the purpose of this video, real simple, this gun is field stripped, okay? Now, the M&P is a great gun. It has a really rigid kind of chassis system to it. The chassis can be removed if you want, but really this thing is not overly filthy. We can see one thing you want to pay attention to is your wear points. You can see here there's some definite wear points on the frame where that slide rides within the frame, and those are areas you want to pay close attention to make sure they're lubricated properly after you're done cleaning the gun. We're going to start from the top of the pistol and work our way down, but first, I mentioned magazines. You can disassemble and probably should disassemble your magazines at some point. For the purposes of this video, because this is basic 101 gun cleaning, real simple. We'll go over a little bit, but you just wipe your magazine down. Now your holster. If you're carrying your gun on a regular basis, you'll get dust bunnies and dirt and all different kind of stuff down inside your holster. You want to remove all that stuff. So I'm going to talk as we go, and we're going to clean. And I'm going to talk about the products I'm using as I go. What I normally do, I like to start with the barrel, okay? The barrel is the last thing the bullet touches before it leaves your hands, okay? So the barrel is a very crucial element for accuracy. It's the last thing the bullet touches, and if this thing is nasty or filthy or full of crud, which this one is, you're going to get a degradation of accuracy. So what you want to probably do starting right out, just grab yourself some hops, and you can let solvent kind of do the work for you. What I like to do is take patches and kind of wrap them around a loose-fitting brush. That tends to be my preferred method of choice. That patch actually might be a little bit big. That's okay. Just have you some scissors on hand. This is actually just an old cut-up t-shirt. So guys, you don't have to spend a ton of money, right? Keep it cheap. You know, spend a little bit of money on a good cleaning rod and maybe some good solvent and oil. Everything else you can source. I mean, we just got some little forceps here. These work great for just, you know, just like doctors use them for. You know, they use them to swab things, apply things. You know, you can hold cotton balls with them. You can hold Q-tips to get in really tough little areas. In this case, a patch. So you get the idea. So we'll basically just take a little solvent. Doesn't take much. And you can see the area I'm working. I'm at a workbench. Guys, if you're going to do this on your, you know, dining room table or something, lay down an old towel or whatever. You know, you don't want to piss mama off. Now, granted, this stuff actually doesn't smell that bad, but that's just something to consider. All right, so we're going to pass a... See, my dog heard me. We're going to pass a patch through there, and we're just going to allow that solvent to sit inside the barrel while we're doing some of the rest of the stuff here. Okay, so with the slide, there's a couple of little tricks that you can go with there for cleaning it. What I like to typically do is take some of these like large Q-tips, and when you're done working, like in this case, the last thing you want to do is tip this jar of solvent over. We're going to reseal it and place it out of the way, nice and comfortable. I'm just going to grab some of this LPS2, and I'm going to just saturate one of these swabs. Just a little bit. You can get in there and clean some of these hard to get to areas with the swab. You know, push it in there and get it into some of the little recesses. And you're just trying to remove, see that? That's what you're looking for. You're trying to remove some of this crud. Now remember, you know, normally myself, I would take this apart. Pay special attention to the breech face of the pistol. Try to get on the inside of that extractor with the swab. You're just trying to basically, you're literally erasing the carbon. I mean, and it'll literally pull it right out of there. It's actually not that terrible, actually. So getting in there and just kind of getting all of that residue loose that's on the inside of the slide. You know, if you don't want to use a swab like mine just broke, that's fine, whatever. You can take your forcep with a patch on it, and you can accomplish the same thing, okay? Get in there and clean with your forcep. It just helps to control, and if you actually bend the patch to where it kind of forms like a little elbow like that, you can use that to really put some pressure in there and clean some of those hard to get to areas. So we'll just take same concept. I'm just trying to show you guys some little hacks. I mean, these are things that I just learned over time. You know, like I'm going to wrap the patch like this and just get in there, and by hand I'm just going to scrub those rails in the slide and get some of that mess out of there. Really great method for getting up under that extractor without having to remove it. You want to get all that crap out of there. And one thing I'm going to mention about this that I think is important is if you're a gun owner and you do this kind of stuff, you probably want to invest in a little small pancake compressor, because you're going to get little dust bunnies from your cotton cleaning patches and things like that on there. You want to make sure you remove all that stuff from the gun. You know, and really this thing wasn't terribly dirty. Another area you can pay close attention to is where the barrel rides in the slide here. Just grab something, just get in there and clean that out, and you can see there's a pretty good little bit of residue left in there. You don't want anything impeding the movement of that barrel. You don't want anything that would cause this to work any other way than the way it's supposed to work. I mean, and guys, this ain't rocket science. You can see I'm just wiping it off, okay? It's actually fairly clean. This gun probably had maybe 500 or 600 rounds put through it. That probably brings up another question that a lot of people are going to have is how often should I clean my pistol? I would say until you've really been a gun owner for a long time, honestly, I would just get in the habit of cleaning every time you take it to the range. And that way you're constantly practicing the regimen of getting the gun apart and cleaning it and everything like that. And also when you're cleaning, you're also inspecting the gun. You're looking for worn out parts, broken parts, anything that might lead you to think that it's going to cause some sort of performance issue with your gun. If you look, you can also see brass shavings that kind of impregnate themselves on parts of the slide, and that's just a wear thing. You know, that happens because of this slide running against the round in the bottom of the magazine. When it chambers a new round, it's actually passing another round in the bottom, and it leaves little bits of brass residue. And you can see all these areas, like it leaves some on the extractor, it leaves some on the right here on the bottom of the slide. And those are all things that need to be paid attention to. You know, try to work that off. You can actually get into some more aggressive brushes. Actually, just that little bit right there scrubbed a lot of that off. But you get the basic idea there, you know. Clean the slide off. Again, we got our solvent just working in the barrel. We're going to let that sit there a minute. Your magazine body, I mean, obviously, if we wanted to, we could pull it apart. But remember, real basic, baby steps. We can do an advanced video later. But guys, you're just wiping it off. Real simple. We'll take our magazine and just wipe down the exterior of the magazine. This greaseless lubricant will go on kind of wet from LPS here, and then it'll just eventually kind of somewhat dry off and leave just a nice bit there. You want to try to, if you're not going to disassemble a magazine, one thing that you can do is just take like if you got like a little dowel rod or a little wooden rod, you can kind of like poke it down in there a little bit like this, or in this case we actually have a swab. Let's grab a fresh swab. It's slippery, guys, in case you can't tell. We'll grab a swab and put just a little bit of lubricant on it, and we'll depress the follower. I'm showing you guys kind of the lazy way, and we're just going to wipe under those feed lips like this. All right, and we're also wiping off the top of the magazine. So see, we pulled some carbon and dirt and grime. As these magazines get used a good bit, you know, you're going to get carbon and dirt and buildup inside the magazine. Eventually, you are going to want to pull the mag apart, but for everyday cleaning and just your average Joe, that's probably sufficient to keep the mag in good working order for a time. All right, so wipe down the magazine. The guide rod, same thing. You know, I've already got an oily rag here. A lot of cleaning can be done, you know, simply with just an oily rag. Just take it and wipe it off. And again, if you've got compressed air, you can also just kind of douse this down with some, in fact, I've got some compressed air. You can just oil up that guide rod, and off camera here, I mean, I've got literally a little pancake compressor hooked up, and we'll just hose this puppy off. Okay, real simple. All right, that's clean, that's ready to drop back in the gun, no problem. And I'm really overly exaggerating what I'm doing here, guys. This can be done super quick. I'm just trying to take time to really like explain what I'm doing. Now for the lower, and remember our barrel's still mellowing out over there with the solvent in it. You don't want to leave it in there too terribly long, but 15 minutes or so would be just fine. Now for the lower, I typically disassemble a lot of my lowers because on a pistol, there's a lot of little cracks and crevices where things can kind of creep and find their way in there. And you really want to try to get as much of that off as you can. You're going to get a good bit of carbon that wants to kind of gather right here on the transfer bar. And you really want to try to wipe that off good. And basically just wipe the thing down, guys. It ain't rocket science. You know what I mean? Wipe it down, get in there. For cleaning the actual magwell, that's another area you want to pay some close attention to. You could literally just take this rag here. And again, taking the forceps, we'll drop the tiny patch, get the big patch, and we're going to swab the magwell. Now, they make special brushes for cleaning a magwell. Screw that crap. Do this. This is way cheaper. We can get in there. I'm trying to save you guys money. You know what I mean? Get in there, wipe her out real good, and that's cleaning that magwell just fine. And all I'm using is an old t-shirt and some forceps. Really easy. We just want to get all the dirt and grime and anything in there. You don't want those mags refusing to drop free or anything stupid like that. You get a little bit of dirt, grime, dust, something down in there. And again, guys, you're always inspecting your pistol. Check your mag catch. Make sure it looks good. Check everything. Make sure nothing's broken. You know, this thing actually cleaned up pretty good with just a little bit of elbow grease and not even really having to disassemble it that much. This is where some of your smaller Q-tips would come in handy for getting in some of the really small cracks and crevices. And guys, this is just a basic field strip. This is just keeping your gun wiped down. This is a type of cleaning you can do in between things like, let's just say you're, I don't know, you've been carrying your gun for a month and you haven't shot it, but you want to pull it out and just do a good wipe down to get the dust bunnies out of your pistol and everything like that. This is a good example of where that would come in handy, is this type of cleaning. Just to, you know, you're checking for corrosion, you're checking for dust bunnies, maybe you've shot 4 or 5 boxes of ammo through it and you want to do a light cleaning. 101, that's kind of what we're at here. Now, holster. I mentioned the holster earlier. Same thing that we did to clean the magwell. You want to go in there and you want to clean the inside of that holster. All right, well, why would you clean the holster? People are probably asking. Well, the reason you want to clean the holster is because you might have dust, particulates, dust bunnies, all kind of crap down in the bottom of that holster. You see I've just got the forceps in my fingers here. You want to get all that stuff out, because what's going to happen is continuous in and out of the holster, drawing the gun, putting the gun back in the holster. What's going to happen? Those little bits of dirt, sand, things like that are going to scratch up your gun over time, and it will wear your finish out a lot faster with a piece of Kydex. This is a Kydex holster from All Purpose Carry. Guy right here in Georgia that makes them, Drew, he's a good dude. But you know, any Kydex, you know, because it's such a hard molded surface and it's such a form-fitted surface to your gun, that any bit of, you know, crap that gets down in there will scratch your gun. And you know, that's something to consider. You don't want you work hard for your stuff, you don't want to ruin it, right? Especially if it's a nice custom piece. You don't want to end up getting a whole bunch of scratches all over your gun for no reason. So take the time to clean your holster as well. If you've got a leather holster, consider a little bit of leather conditioner ain't going to hurt it. You know, condition your holster, clean your holster too. So that's a very important part of being a gun owner. You got to carry a gun too, so make sure you're always checking. And when you take your holster and clean it, check for loose hardware. Make sure your belt clip isn't broke. Make sure there's nothing going on, no loose rivets. That's all part of this process, making sure that you're good to carry your gun too. All right, we'll get back to the barrel. All right, that solvent's been sitting in there a bit. I'm going to take a small patch, and what I like to do is take a worn out brush, and we're just going to kind of pop it over the front of it like that, and I just use that to push through. And it's a tight fit, a very tight fit, but it gets a lot of that crap out of there. Okay, another area that you want to pay close attention to is the feed ramp. You'll get a lot of carbon buildup on this feed ramp, and you want to really take the time to wipe that off good. Another option, actually just that, look at that. That's not bad. It's actually probably just fine to put the gun back together right there, but you want to pay close attention to that feed ramp. A lot of these feed ramps from the factory are polished to give you a really nice feeding of a variety of different ammunition. And if it's going to be a carry gun that you're using all the time, you want to make dang sure that the gun is going to feed and work, and you don't want anything that's going to impede the function of your pistol. You know, the carbon buildup and dirt and crap builds up on that feed ramp. You know, it could cause a feeding issue. And the inside of the barrel, basically what happens there is it gets built up with copper residue, it gets built up with fouling, and it can impede accuracy. You know, if you're going to carry a gun for life and liberty to defend yourself, or if you're just one of those people that likes to take care of their investment, you want to make sure that you're keeping the gun in tip-top working order, and it's going to work for you when you need it, whether it's going to the range to have fun, or whether it's, hey, I never shoot, but I might have to draw my gun and shoot a bad guy because he's trying to kill me or my family. You want to make sure the gun is going to do what you need it to do. So again, we've closed up our solvent. We're just going to grab some LPS, and this time we're going to follow up with just a little shot of LPS down the barrel and along the outside, and then take a rag and wipe it down. I'm probably getting a little bit, you know, overzealous with what I'm doing, but I'm trying to demonstrate you can really clean your gun with really nothing more than just a t-shirt and some oil, You know, I mean, a lot of old timers, you know, just run like WD-40. You can do that if you want. I wouldn't recommend WD-40, but some of the old timers do it, and it's perfectly fine for them. All right, so again, because we did, you know, spray some oil down the barrel, we're going to cut us off a piece of patch. So guys, like a t-shirt, some scissors, a good cleaning rod. I mean, you guys get the point here. We're going to cut a patch, and this time we'll just use a patch puller to demonstrate that. So you've got a loop here. Just pull your patch through it like that, and you can use that to swab out the barrel and dry it. You always want to have a dry barrel. Do not leave oil or solvents inside of your barrel. That's not good. You always want to have a clean and dry barrel, okay? What a wet barrel will do, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world, but it will degrade accuracy much faster if you have, you know, let's say oil down the barrel and you shoot the gun. It's going to kind of like impregnate that oil inside of the, or impregnate that carbon a lot more readily inside of the barrel because it was wet instead of dry. A dry surface is much more consistent. Okay, so you just want to really make sure, you know, go back and forth with a patch or two and just dry that barrel out after you've oiled it up. And you do want to oil it because you put solvent on it. Okay, so that barrel is clean as a whistle. We're looking really good right there. There's really nothing more to do than just inspect it. Nothing looks broken, nothing looks cracked. So the gun's pretty much ready to put back together and ready to throw back in the holster and get back to work. But first, so we basically oiled everything a little bit, but we also want to run a little go juice to lubricate the pistol when we put the pistol back together. So you're going to start with the slide, grab the slide. Now obviously we already you know, removed quite a bit of carbon and just little bits of built up stuff. Don't be afraid to get in there and scrub a little bit in some of the tight corners. But if you pay close attention to what you're looking at here, you'll see bits of wear. You know, where you have very noticeable and discernible wear points on the gun. Any type of metal surfaces that rub against each other, you definitely want to make sure to just give it a spot of lubricant. Now, one thing I'll say about Go Juice is you do not need very much of this stuff at all. So just a very small amount of Go Juice. We're going to drop one drop on the inside of the slide rail. That's all you need there. Another one on the other side. We're going to drop just a little bit right there. Maybe a little bit on the bottom of the striker assembly. A little bit right there. Maybe a drop right here. And we're good, okay? That's it for the slide. We're going to take the barrel and again, make sure it's dry. Wipe everything off. And remember too, if you run your pistol too lubricated and it's too nasty, you'll get dust bunnies won't stick to it a lot more. So there is a such thing as over lubrication. You don't want to over lubricate because you will get dirt and dust and carbon will stick more readily to the gun and you don't want that. So just kind of find that fine line there. All right, guide rod assembly is nice and clean. We're just going to put it back in place. All right, we've got a nice slide ready to drop back on our frame. But before we do that, we want to look at our frame. And again, you know, it's reasonably clean. Guys, remember that we didn't fully field strip this. This was just a really basic field strip. This is not a complete teardown and cleaning. This is a 101 type video for some of you that might need a little help just keeping your gun running before you can learn you know, how to really get the thing apart completely. And we'll do some complete disassembly and cleanup videos at a later time if you guys want us to. So let me know if you like this video. Again, we've got some wear right there. We're going to put just a little bit of Go Juice, a little bit right there. We got a little bit of wear on this breech block here. And there's probably a little bit of wear right here, here, a little bit there, maybe a little bit on the slide stop, a little bit on the striker, the little clicker mechanism for the striker, the sear, okay? We'll drop a little bit right there. You just want to look at moving parts and where they interact with each other. You want to add just a little bit of lubricant. All right. Now on this part, some people have difficulty like locking the slide to the rear on a gun like this, or really any type of semi-automatic when they're cleaning it in order to manipulate it. Easiest way to do that is just go ahead and put the magazine back in the gun. Make sure the takedown lever is down in this case. Okay. And what you want to do is just hold the slide stop down. Actually, what you want to do is cheat the mag about like this. Hold the slide stop down. Okay. Pull back to the rear. okay? And I seated the magazine and it pushed the slide stop up for me. Now I could manually push the slide stop up, or I could let the magazine do it. So depending on your level of experience or your level of comfort for doing that, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. And then of course for the takedown lever, it should just snap back into place. Another thing you want to do is do a good functions test of the pistol. Drop the magazine. All right, we're going to squeeze the trigger. Okay. We're going to make sure that the sear resets and that the gun continues to shoot like it needs to. If the gun has a safety, check the safety. Make sure all the mechanisms on the gun work. You know, take a dry rag and go ahead and just gently wipe down the exterior of the pistol. And that's pretty much, you know, keeping your gun running, guys. It's not really rocket science. This is a video that I felt would be pretty important to make. And that gun is ready to, you know, load back up and stick on your hip and go about your day. Whether you're a Glock guy or a Smith & Wesson M&P kind of guy or whatever you prefer, that's pretty much how to keep your gun running. And guys, I deliberately took the time to kind of go over some of the little bit more intricate things that you can do. Guys, sometimes just a t-shirt and some oil and even just an old coat hanger and a couple of cut up patches will do the trick if that's all you got. Any amount of cleaning that you can do is going to help over completely neglecting your gun. Okay, so guys, don't neglect your pistol. Take the time to wipe it down. Even if you haven't shot it, you know, the guns can get dust bunnies in them. You can get crap in your holster that can really scratch up your gun bad. Take the time to at least like wipe down your gun. Make sure that the barrel's not clogged up full of dust bunnies, things like that. So if you're a new gun owner and you're new to guns and you've never cleaned a gun before, maybe this video will point you in the right direction and give you a little bit of an idea of some stuff that you can do to keep your gun running and hopefully tip-top order. So guys, thank you very much, and let me know if you like this video. We can do one for revolvers as well, and we can also do some more advanced cleaning videos if you wish as well. So thanks for watching today's video. We hope you learned something. If you're new to guns, we hope that you'll subscribe. Take a minute to subscribe and check out our videos. We've got a lot of random stuff that we do. We don't do just gunsmithing stuff. We do a whole bunch of other things as well. Thanks for sitting through this video, and I hope you guys learned something. We'll see you next time.